is that noise?
Did you, what's our song before the meditation, in service?
I am letting go. Can you work with that?
I can do it. I got the technology. So I think I get to have my mask on up here, right? A little hiss in the,
Just a little bit of a hiss.
a little hiss.
Just a little hiss.
A little hiss will do it.
Just a little bit of a hiss.
Good morning. My name is John Haas, and I'm one of the licensed practitioners here at the Center for Spiritual Living. And it's my pleasure to lead you in meditation this beautiful Sunday morning. So if you haven't already done so, find your seat the way the chair hold you, the earth holding the chair. Just notice. Notice your breath, breathing you. With each inhale, a fresh start. With each exhale, a letting go. Notice how easily and effortlessly the body breathes itself. We don't choreograph. We don't direct. We allow. Allow the breath of spirit in and out. Today, I wanted to consider a few words. What are the words to tell of spirit? The vastness of the stars touching me with awe? Or a cobweb constructed with care? The countless stars in the night sky, perfectly designed to include our sun. A piece of art, a home, a baby's hand curled around your finger. What are the words to tell of spirit? It's more than the best intellect, more than the superb machinery of our bodies. We don't measure it with instruments. We don't hoard it in bank accounts. But we can touch it gently, with compassion. We can play spirit in our dreams. We can experience it in others, standing close, quiet, calm. We can live it. We can live the words of spirit in our everyday actions. For the next minutes, if your mind should wander, consider the Spirit words that touch your heart. And perhaps come back to these. I allow Spirit in my heart. 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 allow Spirit in my heart. I allow Spirit in my heart. I allow Spirit to enter my heart. This week, in the days ahead, allow Spirit to see Spirit in all those around you. Allow yourself to be led and consider what words, thoughts, feelings, tastes, touch might remind you of Spirit in your life. It's all around. You can't miss it unless you don't pay attention. Namaste.
Good morning. My name is Kira Molitor, and I'm part of the leadership here. It's the Center for Spiritual Living. Am I on? Is that better? Welcome to everyone here in the center and out there in the internet world. I have several announcements. Number one, save the date. Saturday, July 17th, 2 p.m. Okay. Saturday, July 17th at 2 p.m., we are holding the practitioner graduation. Contact Hazel Bowman if you would like to help set that up and get it together. Reverend Kathleen will be away next week and unavailable. If you need assistance, please contact a practitioner or a board member. We need tech volunteers. Join the team that makes this all work. Training is available. And lastly, our board meeting is today, after service at 12 noon. All are welcome. Enjoy the service.
I already am enjoying the service. Is that okay? Good morning, everybody. It's great to see y'all.
Great to be back.
Let's see. Oh,
And good morning. My name is John Haas, and I'm one of the licensed practitioners here at the Center for Spiritual Living. And what we like to do is pray and teach. So join me now. Recognize the powerful presence that we call God. It surrounds us. It is as us, in us, and through us. Everywhere and every when. We know that this presence guides us, directs us, and allows our expression of Spirit to show up in a multitude of ways. Everywhere we look, everything we see, that is the face of God. So since it's everywhere and every when, it's right here, right now. It's with you in your seat. It's with you, with me, with everyone. And because of that, I know that this service is already unfolding in perfection. I know that just as the sun is warming up the air after this cool, windy few days, life and love and reason and beauty and all of those things that we consider the highest ideal are showing up through the words, through the music, and through your presence. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for this knowing. I'm grateful for this teaching. I'm grateful for life. And so I just let these words ring out into the action of love and law, knowing it's already done in the mind of God. And we can affirm that and anchor it by saying, and so it is.
I know the Spirit is in this place. Let's affirm it with this one. Well, we have come together as a family. We come here as we are. We have come with arms wide open. We have gathered here in love. 'Cause Spirit is in, Spirit is in this place. Oh, Spirit is in, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in, Spirit is in this place. Oh, raise the roof with shouts of praise. Spirit's in this place. Well, we sing in celebration. We sing with words of prayer. We affirm our life is sacred. We declare that peace is here. 'Cause Spirit is in, Spirit is in this place. 'Cause Spirit is in, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in, Spirit is in this place. Raise the roof and shouts of praise. Spirit's in this place. 'Cause Spirit is in, Spirit is in this place. The Spirit is in, Spirit is in this place. The Spirit is in, Spirit is in this place. Oh, raise the roof with shouts of praise. Spirit's in this place.
Thank you so much. Please be seated. I'm going to take this down for those of you who are trying to read my lips. Doesn't work well with a mask, does it? My name is Reverend Kathleen Sibley. It is my joy to minister to you today. Please know that whoever you are, wherever you are, and whenever you're watching this, no matter what judgment you had when you first looked in the mirror this morning, you're entirely welcome here, just as you are and just as you are not, because we know that we're all here by divine appointment. Our souls meant to come here today for good reasons. The Center for Spiritual Living here in Prescott exists to provide spiritual tools that transform our personal lives and make the world a better place. Now, no one can do that for you, but no one has to do it alone either. So we have a circle of licensed professional practitioners, we call them practitioners of religious science, that are here to help with that. They teach classes. From what I hear, Hazel's amazing Bible class has gotten started, and it is doing really well. You heard Dr. John Haas pray for us earlier, and there's a whole bunch of us. There is more than a dozen of us. There are more than a dozen of us. I speak English real goodly now. I should have brought my coffee on here with me today. And so if there is anything going on in your life, anything that's okay-ish but could be better, or anything that is causing you pain or taking you out of your joy in any way, please contact a practitioner. If you are online, I believe that the website is scrolling below me. For those of you who are here, you could also go online, not right now, but you can reach a practitioner through our website, or you can see one of them after service here at the front of the platform. We do what we call a 3-minute miracle. If you call in, you can get one of those too. Basically, you don't tell me the story of who done what to whom all the way back to Adam and Eve, okay? We don't need to know what happened. We want to know what is it you want to experience. Because otherwise, we'll be here all day, right? There's no way to fit all of the he done me wrongs or she done wrongs in 3 minutes. That's why we call it a 3-minute miracle. So you say what it is you want. The practitioner sits with you, and they are trained to look at you and see the face of God and help you come to a place where you can see it too. This is our form of prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment. You can call in anytime during the week and get one of those, or via email or by using the prayer box that's outside in the foyer, you can put in a prayer request, and we practitioners will gather and pray on it. We come together to pray on Mondays at 10 a.m. So if you put in a prayer request, stop at 10 a.m. on Monday and just say yes to answered prayer. Spend a minute saying, yes, okay, I'll take my miracle, thank you very much. And then we will continue to pray on it all week. You're allowed to come back and tell us how awesomely it worked out too. Or if you have refined your prayer, you can come back and tell us that too. So there's all sorts of wonderful stuff that our practitioners do, and all sorts of ways to be in contact with the God of your understanding, with the God that, as to our 12-step friends would say, you can do business with. We don't, believe it or not, own God. We are not the only one with his, her, their, our private cell phone number. And so each week we begin with a candle lighting ceremony. See, the Center for Spiritual Living honors all faith traditions. As we light a candle for the world's religions, it is to acknowledge both our multiplicity and our unity.
We light a candle for Christianity, based on the teachings of Jesus the Christ, who taught the path of love, forgiveness, and healing by the presence within.
For Islam, the practice of submitting to the will of God as revealed to his prophets, peace be upon them, who taught that there is one God, creator of the heavens and the earth.
For Judaism, a community of shared laws, traditions, and family ties, which began with the covenant between Abraham and God.
For Buddhism, the middle path that ends suffering and awakens mindfulness and compassion.
For Hinduism, the path of knowledge, action, and devotion.
For the Native American and various indigenous traditions, those who walk the Good Red Road, including our local tribe called the Yavapai.
For Baha'i, the path of unity and peace.
For all of the goddess traditions, embracing the divine feminine as maiden, mother, and crone or wisdom keeper.
And of course, for the science of mind, which is the philosophy of life that teaches us that there is a power for good in the universe and we can use it.
And here in Prescott, we have our own truth that we speak into being, and that is our affirmation that we say every week. So I'll ask you to say it with me. We are here for God. Our purpose is to express the nature of God as love, abundance, and joy in everything we do. The good we seek for ourselves is what we desire for all people everywhere. And so it is.
I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am released, I am made whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am released, I am made whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am released, I am made whole. I am letting go of the things that no longer serve me. As I'm letting go, I am released, I am made whole. As I'm letting go, I am released, I am made whole. As I'm letting go, I am released, I am made whole.
Now, as we move into the in-service meditation, consider what you might release and let go in order that you may become whole. Some words from Mark Nepo to assist us. Though the wind enlivens the tree is not the wind. And though life enlivens us, we are not the source, though we are always a part of the whole. This week, allow Source to well up in you and through you and out into the world. Namaste.
Isn't it great to be back in here? This reminds me of the day I got my driver's license. I tried to not smile. I tried to be like, that was no big deal. I couldn't help but smile. I feel the same way. And it's great to be back here. And one of the nice things that has come out of the past year is that we've gotten our technology up to the speed that we can bring people from around the country to be here when we're in here, even if they're not physically here. Orlando, Florida is known for many things, including their basketball team called the Magic. But today we get the Orlando Magic straight from Orlando, Florida. It's Armand and Angelina, everybody.
Good morning. Hello.
Good morning from the home of Mickey Mouse. We're delighted to be back with you again, and hopefully we'll be physically back with you again in the near future. The song we're going to do now is confronting the voices in our head. Eckhart Tolle calls them the phantom self. Michael Singer calls them the imposter. And it's very important to discern which voices are telling us the truth and which voices are in an effort to protect us, keeping us small. And so I'm going to be the voice of Armand trying to make sense of it, and Angelina is going to be the voice of my higher spirit guiding me, which for 20 years and 4 months, she has been doing incredibly well. This is called Voices in My Head. So Science of Mind gives us many tools to discern and to quiet those voices so we can hear the truth of who we are. The still small voice. In my head, but I'm not listening. They try and tell me that I'm not okay. I hear the voices in my head, but I'm not listening. The silence offers me another way. I hear the voices in my head, but I'm not listening. They try and tell me that I'm not okay.
In the space behind the voices, pure awareness comforts me. In the space behind the voices, I am love and I am free.
I hear the voices in my head, but I'm not listening. They try and tell me things are not okay. I hear the voices in my head, no longer listening. The silence offers me another way.
In the space behind the voices, pure awareness comforts me. In the space behind the voices, I am love and I am free.
I hear the voices in my head, but I'm not listening. They try and tell me that I'm not okay. I hear the voices in my head, no longer listening. The silence offers me another way. I still hear the voices.
Behind the voices,
They try and tell me.
Nevertheless comforts me.
I still hear the voices.
Behind the voices,
The silence offers me another way. I hear the voices.
behind the voices,
They try and tell me.
comforts me.
I hear the voices in my head.
Behind the voices,
The silence offers me another way. I can hear them now. They're saying, I hope the sound is good.
oh boy.
Yeah.
You know, I think I could have done that better. Doggone it. You know, I just want to be perfect.
How's my hair? How's
Why
my
can't
hair?
I be perfect?
Voices.
Your
voices.
hair.
Your-
I'm having a bad hair day.
You know what the
Okay,
truth
okay.
is? All is well.
That's right. All
I
is
said
well.
that earlier today. All is well.
Take
Everything
a
will be okay in the
deep
end.
breath. Take a deep breath.
I am completely
breathe.
disidentified from those neurotic voices.
Does anybody else have those voices in their head? Has anyone else ever tried to fire them? Part of what we do here in this teaching is rewrite that script, rewrite what the voices in our head have to say to us or about us. And part of the Say Their Names movement was about rewriting the script. In our country, with the news, basically if it bleeds, it leads, right? So we end up having a barrage of bad news. I have yet to see CNN stop regular TV reporting because puppies were born safely. Or because somebody got their braces off, right? And yet this is the little stuff of which life is made. And so when we started hearing Say Their Names, what was being called for was stop saying the names of killers and start talking about the lives of the people who were actually the victims of crime. It's a great shift to go from how much we hate these people or how much we're going to judge and blame these people to these are people who we can see them as having had full lives. Even if it's a move from hatred to pain, it's still a step up, right? One is better than the other. In religious science, what we talk about is those voices in our heads that whoops. This is the real reason I want to be done with masks. I want to be able to wear earrings again. In religious science, part of what we do is we shift our focus from our pain to whatever the next step up is. So if you have been depressed, if you have been dealing with depression, and a lot of people coming out of 2020, having been isolated, are dealing with some anxiety and depression. Yes, I mean, we can admit that without the world ending. And one of the things I know with my background in psychology is that if you can get somebody get from depressed to angry, that's actually a step up. It's a step into a greater energy, a higher level of energy. Now, you don't want to leave them angry for too long. That, you end up with ulcers and stuff that way. Because then we step up into a greater energy again. So I want to spend some time talking about a woman named Kathy Donnelly. Does anyone know her or her work? Yes, you do, because I'm her. Once upon a time, it was a whole nother wife. My name was Kathy Donnelly. And I would look in the mirror and see somebody who didn't make enough money, definitely wasn't skinny enough to make her husband happy, wasn't working hard enough, hadn't gotten the master's degree, much less the PhD, wasn't ready to have kids, wasn't, can't, all sorts of negative stuff. And so, part of my divorce process was in recreating myself into someone I liked. And one of the things that I had decided to try was changing my name. go from Kathy, which was my girlhood name, to being a full-on woman in my own right and insisting on being called Kathleen. It took me years to get people to call me Kathleen, and you know what it took? Stop answering when they say Kathy. Even if they are the public defender of San Diego, even if they are some muckety-muck, if you will not answer to the old name, they will check and see if they have the right name eventually. There's nothing wrong with Kathy. One of my heroes is Reverend Dr. Kathy Hearn. And after a while, I got to the point where if somebody called me Kathy, I would just correct them and say, you know, that's Dr. Kathy Hearn in my head. And to me, Kathy is a positive name now. It's just not mine. So when I was in the midst of the divorce and trying to figure out who to be or who I wanted to be in a conscious act, I decided to let go of my married name, which was Donnelly. I liked Donnelly because it was closer to the front of the alphabet, and therefore I get called on sooner when things had to be done. Yes, I went to Catholic school. Everything was alphabetical. But somehow Donnelly wasn't me, and when I thought about going back to Sibley, I'm like, but that's my dad's name. It's not my name. It's not my name. And I sincerely considered becoming Kathleen Ann and using my middle name as, not just because it starts with A, but making that to be all me. There is power in a name. Anyone who's ever read sci-fi fantasy knows that if you know someone's true secret name, you can make them appear anytime you want. It doesn't just work on Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Who says you can't have fun on Sunday mornings? So if you think about it, there are many traditions where people take on a new name. When people go on a vision quest and become an adult, in many cultures, they get a new name. When they go from childhood and become an adult, they let go of their child name and become an adult with a different name. The Pope takes on a new name. Depending on what part of America you're in, he might have lots of different names. Nuns take on new names. When we have a major shift in our life, often we have to change our name because the shift in consciousness, the shift in who we are, is so complete. And so I was going to name myself after one of my sheroes, who is Anne Agby. I also considered Agby because it's a family name, but Anne Agby was born at the very beginning of the 20th century or late 19th century. She was a child bride that came to America in an arranged marriage. And one of the things she decided is that all of her children, not just the one boy, but all of her children would have a career. And so she raised a CPA, she raised a nurse, she raised a college professor, and the nurse was actually my grandmother, my Nana. The college professor was the one that I took after. You've heard me talk about Auntie Helen or Tia, who got Spanish into the public schools in Massachusetts. Our heroes tell us something about who we are. It doesn't matter to you at all that Annie Agby had an arranged marriage, or that she adored her husband, or that she cured his high cholesterol and heart disease with parsley. That's not going to make a difference in what you have for dinner when you go home tonight, probably, right? Maybe. What matters is that in my family, because I know their names and I know their story and I share in their nature, I understand why education is hugely important to me. I understand that I have a long history of ancestresses who are standing in the idea that a woman can hold her own in this world no matter what the rest of the world says. Amen. And that, you know, if you're, I haven't figured out how to make this thing stay awake for long. Luckily, I know how to make you guys stay awake for long, and that's far more important to my career. I hope. And so I would suggest to you that we honor those who came before us, our grandparents, our great-grandparents. We study history because our heroes can tell us a little bit about who we are and who we want to be. You know, it was Auntie Helen that taught me the stories about a man by the name of Khalil Gibran, who wrote a book called The Prophet, which some of you might have read. That was her cousin. She lived with his sister Miriana and their brothers and sisters Zakia and Charlie. Now, to me, these people were just somebody I saw at a funeral, every so very, please God, rarely. To her, they were real people, and it was my touch with history. And it helped me understand why mysticism appeals to me. It runs in the family. The other thing that runs in the family is horses, but that's a whole different side of the family, and Kelly got that one. When we do things in religious science, one of the things we know is that we are made in the image and likeness of God. That's the Judeo-Christian way of saying it. That the name is the nature. Name and nature are the same thing. If we're made in the image and likeness of God, in the name of God, then we share in the nature of this thing we call God. And so, as Emma Curtis Hopkins once wrote, in my name preach the gospel, in my name heal the sick. That's what Jesus, the master teacher, told us to do. In my name preach the gospel, in my name heal the sick. What name was that which Jesus Christ used, which had such omnipotent energy that even when it was spoken, it would heal the sick and raise the dead? What name was he calling on in order to do these great things, which, by the way, we're all supposed to be doing according to the instructions he left us, yes? We can heal the sick. Did you know that you can do that? You have permission, you have the ability. We happen to use a 5-step type of prayer that helps us get into the mindset in which we claim that power and work from that place within us that knows itself as part of God. Jesus said, the Father and I are one. The one that sent me, not me, but the Father within me, doeth the work. Those are all a Christian way of framing it. The Buddha had a whole different teaching. But what he said was, the things that I'm teaching you, you can do. Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, also came here and said, these are the instructions on how to live. It was not meant to be, candid camera. Oh, we're going to get all these people to go out there and be nice to each other and love their enemies and everything, and it's all a great big joke. That's not what this is. The different religions, the different master consciousness that took form, that took on human form across time, we recognize them and we say their names because we know we share their nature. So, they can become a symbol. They can become something that's encoded in our DNA in such a way, encoded in our subconscious mind, such that we can call on the same power that we attribute to them. That's a little dangerous sometimes, guys. We are told that after a master teacher comes to earth, there's usually about 3 generations before the teaching starts losing its oomph. You can find that in sacred scripture. We lose our oomph. There is the master teacher who has a sacred, mystical experience and knows and understands the power of the one. And then there's a few generations after that one, their students, who have witnessed it in the master teacher or talked to the master teacher's individual students, and so they have the experience of that power. They see what we call miracles. After the 3rd generation, if we are not having our own mystical experiences, we no longer have the teacher right in front of us. And so what sometimes happens is that we look at that teacher and think they are different and special. That's what happened with Jesus. Many people will say Jesus Christ as if Christ is Jesus' last name. That's not how this works. Christ means the one who was anointed to do a particular thing. Does that make sense? So what if it's Hazel the Christ in our room? Or Kathleen the Christ? Or Jackson the Christ? Or Verl the Christ? Or whoever is out there online is the Christ and may or may not know it. What if we each take on that title as if it was a title like king or queen or CEO, CSO. I'm going to create that title right now. The chief spiritual officer of any particular group. We take those things on as a title because the title has power. If you walk in and realize that, you come in and you're interviewing for a job at a big corporation, and you realize that the CEO of the corporation happens to be manning the front desk so the receptionist can run off and grab some coffee, are you going to talk to the CEO differently than you do the receptionist? Maybe. I would be a little intimidated. I'm sure that any one of us would be just as polite, right? We don't go yelling at the person at the front desk, right? All right. Yes, that's one of my pet peeves. People who do not tip because the food got done wrong and, hey, it's my microphone and you gave it to me. So there's power in titles. But the title itself is not where the real power lies. That's what we attribute the power to. Jesus said, not me, but the Father within me, the one within me, the infinite being, does the work. And so the end of that quotation by Emma is, in my name preach the gospel, in my name heal the sick. What name was it which Jesus Christ used, which had such omnipotent energy that even when it was spoken, it would heal the sick and raise the dead? The name is within every mind. Now we humans, we're so silly, we tend to fight over the name. We tend to fight over, is it God, is it Yahweh, is it Buddha, is it King Kong? It doesn't matter. How many of us have answered to different names in our lives? When you were one, did your mom call you the same name that your boss now calls you? One hopes not. And yet we seem to think that God will only recognize us if we call it by the right name and the right gender. It, he, she, us, them takes too long to say. I heard a song recently where God was identified solely as male, and I was just like, that just sounds weird to me now. But I was raised Catholic. Believe me, God was he for a very long time in my world. And that's okay, God works as a he too. There is a saying in Taoism that the Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. The word is a symbol. A symbol is like a finger pointing to the moon. And we have a bad habit of looking at the finger rather than the moon. Anyone ever notice themselves doing that? We start revering the symbol as opposed to what it represents. We start giving credit to the symbol as opposed to what it really means. In Jewish tradition, especially the mystic part, we talk about Yahweh. But if you see it in the Jewish scripture, it is not spelled out. Nobody really knows how to say Yahweh out loud. They took all the vowels out on purpose. Because the secret name of the Most High has such power. You could call God potato. And yes, Ernest Holmes said that you could do that. And if you were thinking of the right symbol, if you were beyond words, knowing the divine being, that does live in you, by the way, If you could get your consciousness to where you are one with the divine, it doesn't matter what you call God. When you call on that energy and that power, it responds. She responds. They respond. And so when we say their names, we say all. There's actually a practice in Hinduism where you just keep repeating all the names of God that you know. If you ever watched the movie Gandhi, that was such a big deal. When he is shot, he says, "Oh God," which if you're speaking English and from an American tradition, it just sounds like he's going, "Oh my God, what just happened? It's awful." What he was doing was his spiritual practice. Rama, 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 Rama. Saying the name of God over and over again so that it becomes so habitual it's the last thing you will speak. Isn't that better than, "Oh God"? God, 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 God. It sounds like I am saying something bad. But we can make it a spiritual practice. And so I invite you today to think about that. What name do you call on, and what does it represent to you? Auntie Helen happened to like me because I purposely took Spanish so that she would. I wanted to be somebody's favorite, and so I made sure that Auntie Helen had reason to speak to me in Spanish. And I went and got all of her stories. And I made a point of turning her into the type of person I wanted to be in my head. Educated, able to take care of herself no matter what. She was the last of the sisters to live, so she was caring and kind and compassionate. She was also feisty as all heck, by the way. She was about this big with this much personality. It had to burst out sometimes. Think about the names you call on. Think about what they represent to you, and then say their names with all of the power that lives in them. When you call upon the name of God, by whatever name you use, say their names and say it knowing the meaning of the symbol that you are speaking. Yes? So, this is how we say their names. I come down here to pray, not just to mess with the camera person. Sorry. Because we're on an equal praying field down here. It's coming out of my mouth, but the same power that speaks me during prayer can speak any one of you, and does speak all of you. And so I invite you to go within with me right now. If that means you close your eyes or you soften your gaze, great. If it means you just get comfortable in your chair, fantastic. And in this moment, I come into the awareness that there is only now, and there is only God. That this energy of life that we sometimes call God, the energy of love itself, the power and presence that we all court, this thing called life, called love, called you, is fully present right here and right now. It is the thing that allowed Jesus to raise the dead. It is the thing that allowed the Buddha to find enlightenment. It is the thing that groups of women have called on as the goddess in the middle of the night. It is the very energy that allows children to be born and flowers to bloom and the sun to go around, or to appear to go around the earth. Allows the earth to go around the sun every year. It is this same energy of pure and perfect life that is in the world as each of us right now. And so while I speak these words in the first person and say I am speaking of the overarching us, the oneness, the one mind, the one heart that is us, that is God as us. And what I know and claim for all of us is that this one mind, this one being, this one life is already perfect. And it is the divine within each and every one of us that has the power and is creating this world that works for everyone, that is absolute love, that is perfect peace, that is power, that is abundance, that is health. And so all of us have all of those good things right here and right now. And so I call them into our physical experience because they already exist in our spiritual truth. And I am so grateful to know that this is simply what spirit is and what it does and how it works. I am so grateful to know that the act of standing witness and calling the name is what calls it into my physical world. And this is not because I work harder and not because I deserve it more, but simply because this is how spirit works. And it is doing it right here and right now at all times and in all places. And so I allow this spoken word, I allow my word to go forth to become the law, to be made manifest. And this is simply what we do. And I release this word to the law, knowing it automatically becomes form, becomes a physical thing. And resting in that, I just sing praises and call it good. And together we affirm, and so it is.
Will we let the love wash over us? We let it be. We let the joy wash over us. We let it be. We let the grace wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the joy wash over us. We let it be. We let the grace wash over us. We let it be.
Thank you. Please be seated. So, we do hand gestures not just because it's fun, and but because there is actually a neurological connection. And so these things symbolize to us getting that belief that all of that good is washing over us, and it takes it into our muscle memory and cellular memory. In the same way, we take all of that energy of good and energy of abundance and energy of spirituality and allow it to be part of our financial truth. And so this is the time in which we accept tithes and offerings. You can text a tithe or send it to our webpage, which is, if you're online, it should be below me right now. There's instructions on how to text a tithe by the box outside. We no longer pass the basket. That's gone the way of 2020. I will tell you that this is a spiritual practice as well as one that simply makes sure that we will still be here in a few years. And it's also a way to tell the universe that if this is serving you, this is how you make sure it continues. And you get more of this type of energy in your life. So if you happen to have a check in your hand, I ask you to hold it over your heart. If you're like me and you have it on auto tithe and the great God Google takes care of everything, then I ask you to hold your hand over your heart in a symbolic gesture as we bless our tithes and offerings, saying, divine love in and through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, life. And thank you, Armand and Angelina, for coming back.
All right.
Yes.
So if you want to sing along, instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Like the Macarena, we got hand moves. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. If every journey begins with a single step, I'm taking my first step now. If we are to be the change that we want to see, I'm changing myself now. Always a good place to start, right here in the mirror. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. All right, we're gonna get a little funky. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Yeah, check it. Instead of waiting for there to be peace on earth, make peace within you now. Yo, 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 don't wait for peace to come. Be the change you want to see. Gandhi said that, yo.
You can tell they're in Orlando. They're a little bit goofy today. Sorry. Not really. It is my joy to remind you that we have a board meeting, not at all board meeting, after service. We're going to be talking about how we reopen and to what degree, about these and what we do with them. I have said that they make wonderful hamster hammocks, but I don't know that everybody agrees with that. See, they go like this. And at this point in our service, one of the things we like to do, and I ask you, if you are online, please put in your name and where you're watching from so that we know who is watching and we can say hello to you. If you are in the room and you're here for the first time, we'd love it if you'd stand up and just tell us your name and where you're from. The only rule is nobody's allowed to elbow or drag up anybody. You don't have to do that. So I'm just going to give that a moment. Is anybody watching on Facebook, or can they see comments? La 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 la. Sorry, everybody. It's not normal to be told to whip out your phone in church, is it? But you are welcome to do that if you want. People are who wedding now? Yay! All sorts of people online. It's good to have you here.
Hello from Prescott Valley.
Hello from Prescott Valley. I hope that. Good, good. You know, if you want to stay home and have a second cup of coffee, that you still get to be part of this group. And we're still having classes. We're figuring out how to do them so that you could be online or here physically, and have the classes happen in both ways at the same time. And now we have our youth coming in. You guys danced your way in. How cool is that? So, what were you guys up to? You want to come in front of the... There you go. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to smack yourselves in the head.
Hi.
Aw.
So today we read the keeping quilt, and we made family trees. So we took this picture of wood, cut it out, made it a tree, and put triangles of paper, and put our ancestors and ourselves. Yeah.
Seamus is like me. We're both like, yes, microphone, come here.
Our theme was say their name, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Why is that important? Because people might not like it when you call people may not like it when you call them nicknames or something like that, like actually saying their actual name. Yeah.
That's important. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right. So I believe we might be able to start the board meeting a little earlier than normal. We certainly don't have to wait till 12:15 because that's 45 minutes away. So we will start it as soon as we possibly can, as soon as the entire board is available. And in the meantime, we're going to do our benediction and sing our way out. So I'm going to ask you to stand up if you're in the room. Stand up if you're not in the room, too, and say this with a whole bunch of meaning. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It's happening through my mind, my body, and my affairs. I think it, I believe it, I feel it, I know it, I accept it. Thank you, life.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator. We're a family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me, and this is the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins